Welcome back to Joe Blow. I was only saying to Yops the other day when we started Joe Blow, and so I was saying when we first started this, I had like 5 people I really wanted to interview, and you were one of them.
You're
Because
right.
you've had this huge life, and I've known you, we just worked out, it was 15 years.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
That means I was like 30. It means I was 40.
Well, you were younger.
Younger.
You definitely you were smaller.
Oh,
You've bulked up.
I bulked up.
What
Yeah.
did I tell you? I told you years ago, didn't I?
Yeah.
Hit the weights.
Yeah, she hit the weights,
Stop running everywhere and wrecking your knees.
Yeah, she said, stop being a scrawny little athlete. And she was into the gym like a Hulk. And she's had phases. Yeah, no, you've had this massive life. I was actually, someone this morning said, who have you got on the podcast? I said, a good friend of mine, Stacey. She runs this successful business. And she was like, what does she do? And I said, fuck, you know what? Something really weird. She like buys electricity and then she puts it somewhere and she sells it to big companies and she gets paid a fortune.
Mate, I struggle to answer that question still.
And I think this is off track to what I wanted to talk about, and then I said, but I think she's got a degree in biology or something like that. Something odd.
Medical engineering.
Medical engineering, that's it. It was something odd and then you went but we'll get to that.
Okay, yep.
But I've got a funny story that will probably be a good little intro that I was thinking about. You don't know this story, but you contacted me on email, I think, or text message or something, and you said, my wife and I want to discuss home loan stuff, and it was signed off Stacey. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to your place at South Brisbane.
Mr. Stacey.
I was expecting a man. And the door, and it was like, is it Anne or Anna?
Oh, it's spelled Anne, but it's Danish, so Anna.
Anna.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, yeah, Anna and myself. So I go to the door, and I remember the door opens, and you were there, and you go, hi, I'm Stacey. And I remember for a split second, oh, my God, it's 2 women. It's 2 women.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me. This will be like those videos. And then I guess it all started from there. We did loans together, and I've known you forever. And I thought, what a perfect person to come on here. Obviously for what happened to you recently, but your past. And I remember stories you used to tell me when you were young and dating the other sex.
Oh, yeah. Those are the days.
I remember one of the stories you told me. I'll never forget it. I don't know if you want to go through it.
Oh, look out.
It was a full-on story.
There were a few. Sorry.
I know. One was full-on, but take me back. We'll get to that story. I'll retell it if I can. So what's Stacey like at 15? Who is she? What does she look like? What is she doing? Is she dating boys?
Yeah, I was. No, Stacey at 15 was just focused, hard worker. So played a lot of sport and was just focused on being, the best I could be in any sport, very focused at school, like couldn't get me away from the books. So Stacey at 15 had to be the best at everything and she worked hard to do it.
Where do you think that came from?
I think it must have come from the farm, right? You grow up on property and, Dad has you working from 9, 10. I think the work ethic came from there, but the having to be the best at everything, I don't know. I think you're just born with that, right?
Do you reckon that's the cloth you're cut from?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got kids as well. You've either got that or you don't. I don't think you can, install that into a child. So I just had it. So, but yes, I was dating boys. I had a childhood sweetheart at 15.
Did you?
Actually, he's one of my best mates. Yeah.
Really?
Still, yeah.
Oh my God.
Jared, yeah.
So, were you right into boys then? Like,
I wouldn't say I was right into boys.
you just thought you had to have a boyfriend?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I probably, I played a lot of sport. I played a lot of team sports, soccer being one, so you could imagine, It wasn't as common back then, I guess, to be with girls, but there was obviously a lot of girls like that around. And I probably started noticing, Yeah, definitely before 17.
What do you mean by there was a lot of girls like that around?
Oh, they're just, tomboy type girls. Definitely girls you'd look at now and the gaydar's going off and you're like, they're definitely on my team. So, but going back to your point, I didn't want a bar of it.
Of what?
Of being with a girl. I wanted normal. Stacey was focused on normal. She was focused on,
Degree,
smashing
picket fence.
school, get a degree. At that stage, we'll talk about it, but at that stage I wanted to go and do medicine. I was going to do that. That's what I was doing. I was going to marry a man. I was going to have a family. I was doing normal.
And it didn't feel odd
Doing normal.
doing guys.
Yes, it did. Odd's not the word I'd use.
What would you use?
Oh, it was horrible.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, God, yeah. Oh, not always.
What do you mean?
That's not fair. Not always horrible, but it's not for me. Yeah.
Oh, I've got to get
I tried
into that.
hard for a long time, but
So what's horrible? Is it just like, would it be like me sleeping with yops?
Yep. Yeah, it would be.
Really?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
That's how it felt.
Yeah.
Really?
Mate, yeah. Oh, the stories I could tell. Far
Come on,
out.
tell us one story.
I remember one time, this was towards the end actually, because eventually I acknowledged, what was going on, and eventually I'd tried hard enough for a good decade or so, and then I'm like, nah. And it was, so I was getting to the end of that time where I was getting closer to embracing it. It was a different time back then, Tom. Like, it was just harder back then.
That's what I was going to get to. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, I was getting close to the end. I'd come back from London and I was back in Brisbane and I was dating this guy and, oh man, lovely guy, just lovely. I could tell a couple of stories
I think
about
this
him,
is the
actually.
story you told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think you told me a story about a guy that was forcing you to have sex with
Yeah,
him.
that one.
Yeah. You
Oh,
told
so
me.
I've got two stories with him. One,
The guy with the carrot?
One is that, yeah. One was the same guy, and I remember we'd gone to the beach somewhere, and it was quite a secluded beach. And so this guy's living his best life, right? And he's like, he gets his kid off, and he's going for a swim, and the whole time, like, fucking hell, just put your clothes back on.
And you're going, are you thinking, oh no.
He was so happy, hey. Like, he's there with his girlfriend. He's just loving life. And I remember him coming out of the water, and I'm up the beach a bit, and he's like running out of the water. It's like a scene out of Baywatch, right? This guy's completely starkers, and he's running up the beach, and it's just going side to side, and and he's coming towards me, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, nah, this is not for me. But yeah, same guy, and he wanted one night, he wanted to have sex, and I'm like, I just didn't want to do it because I was getting to the point. It had nothing to do with him, bless him, he was lovely, but I was just nearly done, and he just kept chipping away. So I literally in the end just went, fuck, all right, yep, laid there, took it, and then he thanked me after. He thanked me because he knew I didn't want to, and I remember when he thanked me after, I'm like, nah.
That's the story you told me.
Yeah,
Third home loan we were doing together. I
Oh,
don't know
really?
yeah.
And I told you that.
You told me that story because I was really
Yeah.
interested, and I was like, how do you just change? So
I wasn't.
So you that night you were just sitting there and you're like, just do it and get it over
Yeah,
with. But
literally.
Were you that sick that you were like, this is? Is there a point before that though where you go? Do you sit there and go, there's something wrong with me? I'm not attracted to. Do you think it's just the guy?
No, I never thought there was anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
I knew what was going on. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. I just, at that time, society was different. The last thing you want to do is come out and tell mum and dad. At that stage, you want to have a family. Like, these are things that, sure, everyone can do now quite easily, but back then it just wasn't as simple. So.
But you just were just definitely just not attracted to guys.
Not at all. No.
And when did you sort of look at women differently and go, oh, that's quite hot, and that guy with the dick's not hot?
Oh, that was back in teenage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I always found women more attractive. Yeah,
So
definitely.
just take me through that. So you're in the change rooms after hockey, and Julie's there, and you just go, fuck, she looks good.
Yeah, constantly.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's where I think it's unfair. I go to swim at Centenary Pool and then I'll go into the men's change room and there'll be gay guys in there. And I just think, how good's this? It's like
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
being in the women's toilet.
You idiot.
Is it like, but that's what I'm saying. You're into the women's toilet and you've got all these women
Yeah.
around naked.
Full access. Yeah.
Full access.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
So you knew back then when you were younger, you were like, fuck, she's quite hot. But
Yeah,
so
but
when
but when you first start noticing that, you don't notice in the context of you're gay. You notice it and you just appreciate that women are more attractive, right? And then it evolves. Then you realise you want to have sex with them, and it changes.
Hey, buddy. We were in the showers before, weren't we? After the gym. All right, so you decide, this guy, I'm done and I'm done with men.
Mm.
Do you have a first experience with a female? Or have you already done that?
No. So,
Because you were 25 or something. I was reading on your website.
yeah, I was probably a bit older actually. Probably about 26 or 27 when I had my last experience with a man. And I remember that. I actually remember that night vividly. So
It's not that night you just told us.
No. So after that relationship ended, I lived in a little flat at Hawthorne. We called it the crack house because it had a massive crack down it.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
Mum, Dad. Anyway, there was this one night and I lived there alone and I was lonely. And and there was a group of friends from London. And there was one guy in particular, he was covered in tats, piercings. He was, again, lovely guy. And he and I had flirted a bit in London. And then I was there this one night in the crack house and I'm like, and I knew he was home. He had recently come home. And so I texted him and I said, oh, what are you doing? So I literally invited him over. That was the last night. And I remember when he got in a cab to leave that night, I remember vividly thinking to myself, I will never do that again.
So, but you had this bad experience with this other guy,
Yep.
and you thought
That was just
maybe it's
before it.
him.
No.
So
I've
got to have no. Did you think I'm done with guys, but I'll just give it one more go just in case it was him?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but I do remember vividly as he drove off
Just going, I'm done.
last time.
And what did that feel like in your head? Going, last time with a guy, and from now onwards, I'm going to try and be with women.
Yep. So then I again still very much not willing to share this with anyone, right? So at that time, but I made a decision in my head that I myself personally would start looking at women or for women, and then when I found someone that meant something to me, that's when I'd share it with my friends and family.
So you went through a bit of jumping a few women in
No, mate.
short.
No,
You just
that was the plan.
you just had real anxiety. Did
That
you
was the
going,
plan.
I'm going to be with a woman now?
Yeah,
Was it easy to find
that night.
That night you just went, that's it.
Yeah, that night. I'm like, nah, that's it, done. It was like I knew that was like the last thing I needed to do, and then I'm like,
So if there's 10 women lined up here, do you know which
yeah,
are lesbian?
yeah.
Is that a bad term or not?
No, it's not a bad term.
Did-
I don't use it much, but
No. You don't like it, or?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I wonder what you guys think, because there's some terms that go around and I always hear them and I just think, I didn't want to ask you about them.
You can ask me.
No, like the term lesbian is,
No.
yeah, how do you feel about that? And then
I
I
don't
always,
hate it. I just don't use it much.
yeah.
Mm.
And then I hear this term scissoring. She's a scissorer or something?
Scissorer.
Scissorer. Is it scissorer?
Where are you hanging out?
And it's just like, oh, these are terrible, because no one says that about heterosexuals.
Yeah, I know, but
So if you see 10 women here, you know,
pretty
do they
much.
have to talk?
It's getting harder though, right?
Why is that?
Because times are changing. So a lot of heterosexual women are pretty much up for anything.
It's funny you say that, because in my dating world that's been going forever, I would say 5 or 6 out of 10 have had a woman experience.
Oh, more and more, mate.
Yeah, like when I go on a date and we'll just start talking and I feel like I'm on a podcast on a date and it'll come up and she go, yeah, I've a friend of mine, and I'm thinking, how do I feel about that? Like, is that extra competition? You know, and I said, well, how do you know if you'd like women or men? I love women, and every now and then, you know, a friend will be out drinking. All of a sudden, we're back at home scissoring.
Scissoring, yeah. Well, it's fun.
And
You got to do what you got to do. My last,
it's fun.
My don't knock it. You try it.
and knock it until you try it.
Exactly. No, my last two partners were heterosexual.
Well, this is coming down the track because that's quite a funny conversation. But we can go there. So Stacey tried to set me up with one of her friends, and she said, "You should date this girl. You should date her. She's great. She's yeah, I know. She's amazing.
Great. She is amazing.
She's amazing. This sort of thing." And then I said, "No, nothing happened." And then 2 months later, they're together.
Yeah, but what did you really say to me? What was your first question?
Oh, I said to you.
She knows this, so we can talk about it.
Yeah. I said to you, I'm trying to come. Sounds like
You asked one question
Yeah,
very quickly.
Yeah, I did. I said, "What would you?" No, I said, "Would you be with her?
Would you date her?
Would you date her?"
Yeah.
And you said,
No.
"No, because of something. Was she too much energy or
No, too nice.
too nice?" Yeah. Because you eat women alive.
Yeah.
We should get your last ex on here. She loved you.
Yeah.
I used to get hit up by her at New
Wow.
Farm Park.
She still probably does love me.
Yeah, I know. So then you've gone through all this scissoring, and then you get married.
Yeah, so I married Anna, and
Yeah.
Danish backpacker.
Danish
And
hot blonde backpacker.
So she was the first woman I slept with.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was there a gap between old mate
Yeah.
and then her?
Yeah. I met Anna at 29, so a couple of years.
So, and that's why you came out at 29. As you say, come out. I guess that's a term people use to
Yeah.
tell everyone.
Yeah.
How was that received when you came out and said, how did you do it? You obviously didn't throw a party.
Oh, we did. Actually.
A coming out party.
Well, no, it wasn't a coming out party, but we did throw a party. It was more because Anna had to move to Australia, so it was more a party, red and white party to welcome her to Australia. But no, how do you do it? You just pick up the phone.
And how was that received? Was there shock?
Yeah, actually, and I think this is quite common. It's normally the people that are closest to you that struggle the most, and I don't think it's about your sexuality. It's about that they didn't know about it, and they feel that they've spent so much time with you and have been so close to you for so long. For them not to know, it's like you've hidden something. You've hidden the most important thing about you from them, and they get upset about that. So, you know, my sister, by way of example, who I'm extremely close with, and, you know, when I shared that, she was one of the first people I told, she probably reacted the worst out of everyone.
And what do you mean by reacted the worst? What does that look like?
I'd only just met Anna, I think, over the weekend, and then I was travelling a bit for work, and Christy worked in Melbourne, lived in Melbourne, and so I was going to Melbourne that following week on the Monday, and I flew down and I told her, and yeah, she got so upset about it, I had to cancel my work trip and headed home. Yeah, she was pretty. And then I don't think she spoke to me for, it was maybe nearly 12 months.
I think I went on a date with your sister, didn't I?
You might have, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
How did that
No,
go? Let's talk about that.
Let's move on. Because I remember you guys weren't talking for years, and I thought it was something linked to that.
With the initial 12 months that she didn't speak to me was definitely because of that. And then some people take it amazing. Like, my parents took it amazing. You know, Dad's like, yeah, I've known that for years. I'm like,
that's what I was going to ask. How many people?
Could you have shared that with me?
How many people? Well, how does he share that?
How many people react like that?
How many people are shocked? Was it more shocked than?
No, I think in my situation, more were like, oh yeah, that makes sense, than shocked. Mum was shocked. My brother probably handled it the best, actually, because he was shocked, and he just said to me, this is new. No, what did he say? He said, so what are you telling me? You're not into blokes now or something like that. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. And he's like, okay. And he said, look, I just need time to think about it. He said, I'll let you know when I've processed it. And I'm like, okay. And he said, I'm not upset. He said, I love you very much. I just want you to be happy. These are literally the things he said. I just want you to be happy. So, but this is new to me and I just need time to think about it, like time to process it. And then within a day or two, they called and said, is there any chance we can all have dinner together? So I think he handled it the best.
And what about, did it affect business at all?
Oh, I hid it from business.
Did you?
Yeah,
Why?
I did actually. I hid it from business for a long time, like a long time.
Why is that?
Oh, I don't know, hey. Like, I reckon Anna and I had kids and you know, you talk about Stacey answering the door and the amount of times I was in work meetings or, you know, at conferences or whatever it was and they'd ask about your husband and I'd just answer it. So I'd just go, yeah, he's good, he does such and such. And I'd just talk about Anna like she was the husband.
I've got to get to the bottom of this. So did you think it was going to affect your business?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 100%.
But you were running a fucking highly successful business.
Yes.
And you were amazing at it, earning a fortune. I've got your financials here from the last home loan application.
They're better than that now.
Oh, shit. Yeah. But why do you think it was going to... Do you think people...
I don't know, hey, but this went on for... To be honest, I reckon it was until I started putting tattoos on where you could see them that I just thought, well, you know, I've given it away now, so... But yeah, so we're talking
embarrassed
years.
Or?
Do you know what? I think it was more I didn't want to put them in an uncomfortable situation. In a business environment, it's just a bit different, right? So
you don't think you would have lost deals though?
Well, you never know, right? So you're dealing with
macho, power hungry guys.
Well, yeah, and a lot older, and you know, these guys are married 20 years with 4 kids.
Okay, you think they're going to go, oh, God.
Yeah, like
you're like an alien.
Yeah, but over time, you know, I'm talking over 10 plus years. But over time I sort of got more and more comfortable and then, you know, financially you're doing well and it's high risk when you start, right? It's high risk. Your customer concentration's a lot worse. You lose one customer, it's a big deal. So as that gets better... Yeah, I started to...
Do you think it's also, I know in my fact it is, but do you think you just sort of get to that age also where you go, I don't give a fuck anymore? Like I know I'm good at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't have to wear all the fancy clothes.
Yeah.
Who cares that I'm with women?
Yeah.
Do you get to that point?
Yeah, yeah. And that's when, you know, the tattoos came and I'm like, well, I was at that stage. I'm like,
it doesn't make you any dumber, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Like, yeah.
In fact, it's a conversation piece.
So what can we use instead of the word lesbian? I feel like I'm keep searching for that word.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So, no, I hate it now. It's like, I want to say, so you're now a lesbian.
Yeah.
You're now a same-sex marriage. That's even worse. So you and Anna are together. Mm-hmm. How do you start that kid conversation? Like, because I remember this. I don't know if you approached me at one stage for my semen.
Did I?
I think Michelle was mentioning something because you guys wanted to have kids.
We did.
I don't know if this is probably...
We probably did because...
Yeah, because you said, and we said, Michelle said, well, this is a funny story. So we were out one night and you guys mentioned you wanted to have kids and you said, would we consider it? And I remember going home to Michelle and saying, you said because I've got Austrian and European blood and that's what you wanted through your kids.
Yep.
And I said to Michelle, so what happens? And she goes, you know you're not having sex with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought it was like a threesome.
Come and scissor with us.
I can bring the scissors. I was like, oh. She goes, no, you go put it in a jar and then they use it and then something like that. But anyway, and then you were talking about once, and this might be totally wrong. You were talking about going on a Kentucky tour or something.
Really?
I thought something like that. One of you were going to go and just go through Europe. Maybe
No,
wrong
no.
wrong lesbians?
No, wrong lesbians. Although that would happen. Oh, the stories how lesbians.
Yeah, that's what I
Far
don't,
out.
maybe it wasn't you, but yeah, another couple said that one of them was going to go through Europe and try and get pregnant.
Oh,
So where do you have that conversation? How does that all happen? Because you obviously want to have kids. It's not physically possible.
yeah, no. We always knew we wanted to have kids, and it happened. Like we had those conversations. Lesbians, go from 0 to 1,000,000 miles an hour really fast. So the kid conversation comes pretty early, but no, well, I think we did. I think we did. Probably, obviously, we talked to you about it. I don't know how many people we talked about it, but the reason why we
Just
would,
me.
yeah, probably just you. The reason why we would have is because we were dead against using a donor from overseas. So there's the donor situation's a bit dire in Australia in that a lot of the donors are from the States or Europe, and it's hard. It's not very well regulated, so it's hard to control how many times that donor's been used. And even back then, and actually it's blowing up now. It's a bit of a big deal, but even back then, that was a concern to me. So we wanted to use a local donor, and local donors are few and far between because I don't know when they changed it, but they changed the rules that you couldn't be anonymous anymore. So when the kids are 18, if they want access to the donor's contact details, they can get that. And then when they changed it to being non-anonymous, that's when a lot of the local donors disappeared. So the local donor pool is quite shallow. So for us, who didn't want to use, one of the donors from overseas, we either had to wait until someone in a local donor pool made sense to us, or we had to ask a friend.
So what did you do?
Local donor came up.
And how do you get to the front of that list? Is it the more money you have, the better, or
No,
you just
no,
apply and you hope and wait?
No, there's always the clinic we use. There was always about half a dozen local donors, and a lot of the time they weren't of interest to us because we were looking for certain things. And then when one come up, we just put our name down. And
How do you work out who carries the child?
I was a little bit older, and we both wanted to carry, so I went first. I had the twins.
Oh, you had the twins.
Yeah.
And then Anna had
Emerson.
That's a good name, that. Where did you get that from?
I don't know.
Someone did call me and ask me, Tom, can I ask you a favour? And I was like, oh, God, I'm back in the donor scheme. And you're like, do you mind if we use the name Emerson?
I love that name.
Yeah, it's the best name ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only other Emerson that he knows.